With Dre Greenlaw signing with the Denver Broncos, probably the biggest question on Robert Saleh's mind, outside of what he's going to do on the defensive line, is how is he going to replace Dre Greenlaw? His defense really requires a linebacker next to Fred Warner with the ability to fill in the gaps and play sideline to sideline. And while I'm sure San Francisco has some names via the draft they want to target, maybe someone like Jeffrey Bassett out of Oregon, I do think Robert Saleh is going to allow there to be open competition at this position. So there could be D. Winter starting, maybe Jeffrey Bassett, or Jalen Graham, the linebacker out of Purdue. When San Francisco selected Graham in the 7th round of the 2023 NFL Draft, it was clear that he was going to need a couple of years to really catch on at the NFL level because he needed to transfer from playing outside of the box, mainly at Purdue, to more of an inside linebacker role. He was also undersized, coming in at 6'2", weighing 220 pounds, but over the last 2 years, we've seen his instincts in the box improve, and he's also added weight. And when you look at his combine results, they're actually better than Dre Greenlaw's. He ran his 40-yard dash in 4.64 seconds compared to Dre Greenlaw's 4.73 seconds. And like Greenlaw, I would say he actually plays faster than his combine speed because of his instincts. He's just so quick to identify what the play is and then triggers on it without any hesitation. So in this video, I want to dive a little bit deeper into the 24-year-old player that is Jalen Graham to see if he could actually replace Dre Greenlaw this season. To do this, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into his film to see the strengths that he offers San Francisco moving forward, as well as the areas he needs to improve. Initially starting out, we're going to be looking at him in the running game because I think this is honestly where he's best currently at the NFL level. And this is where San Francisco really struggled last year. A big reason in my opinion is because of Devondre Campbell. He often allowed offensive linemen to get inside his pads and he was slow to react to the play. Meanwhile, on Graham's limited tape, it's honestly littered with him making plays in the running game. Here going against the Bears for instance, watch how he quickly identifies his run play, shoots without hesitation, and then because of that sideline to sideline speed I was mentioning earlier, he's able to chase down this back and gets him down for a 1-yard loss on this play. Another thing I really like about Graham's game is his ability to engage with an offensive lineman, not be driven back, shed their block, and then make the open field tackle. Here going against the Bears for instance, you can see how this guard is attempting to go up to the second level and block Graham, but Graham meets him in the open field, doesn't get driven back at all, sheds his block almost instantly thanks to his double hand swipe, and then gets the tackle on the back. But I really like how Graham isn't necessarily looking to take on blocks, but if he can avoid him, he'll do that all day long. Here going against the Cardinals for instance, once again, I really want to focus on how quickly he identifies his run. He takes his read step, sees the hole in the offensive line, and then before even D. Winters, he's shooting it. And as soon as he gets up there, he's able to avoid this offensive lineman's block by taking almost like a jump cut like a running back would, and then he brings down this back for only a 3-yard gain. I also think Jalen Graham is just so smart for being such a young player. Here going against the Raiders for instance, they're going to be running an option play, and this defensive end for San Francisco should be getting contained on this quarterback. But because he shoots in, Jalen Graham is quickly able to identify that there's no longer an outside contained man, so he actually triggers on this quarterback and does a great job of making this open field tackle, essentially saving the touchdown on 3rd down. In a similar way on this play, I want to focus on how Jalen Graham does a great job of reading this guard pulling, so rather than shooting this open hole in the offensive line, he follows the guard and that leads him right to the ball carrier and once again, a beautiful open field tackle. Outside Graham's ability to meet offensive linemen, shed their block, and make open field tackles in the running game, I expect him to be solid against the pass as well. During his time at Purdue for instance, he almost played a role similar to Fred Warner's at college where he was almost like a safety / linebacker. And in zone coverage, he did an excellent job of reading the quarterback's eyes and then jumping the route. And when you watch him coming out of high school, he was actually a defensive back, so pass coverage could be a strong suit of his. And so far at the NFL level, I think he's improved his man coverage. Here going against the Bears tight end for instance in man coverage, he doesn't fall for any of his moves and is just staying inside his hip pocket this entire time, which ultimately forces Caleb Williams to take the sack on this play. Another way I expect Robert Saleh to have a lot of fun using Jalen Graham is sending him on blitzes. Here going against the Cardinals, for instance, he does a great job of just bull rushing this running back right into Kyler Murray's lap, which forces an errant throw. Graham also does a pretty good job of disguising his blitzes before the snap and then timing them up with the quarterback's cadence. Like here going against the Saints, pre-snap you can see how Graham is timing up his blitz with the quarterback's cadence, and he's shooting this as soon as the quarterback is snapping the ball. And once he engages with this running back, I think he does a pretty good job initially of hitting him with the bull rush, and then once he tries to re-engage, he's able to use a double hand swipe to get free and get the sack on the quarterback. Outside of Graham's ability on the defensive side of the ball, he also offers versatility on the special teams side of the ball, where he did a pretty good job on punt coverage last year. With all those positives being noted, headed into year 3, I would like to see him continue to add strength and size so he can be more effective on the interior of San Francisco's defense, and honestly, he just needs more playing reps because he is transitioning from that hybrid type position I was speaking about into the linebacker role. So with more reps, he is going to have some of those young player mistakes, but I also think he has the ability to develop more. To really understand the player that is Jalen Graham though, I briefly want to go over his career history because it's just so interesting. We were first introduced to Graham at Cass Tech High School, but he wasn't playing linebacker there, he was playing quarterback and defensive back. He was such a good defensive back, in fact, he was named first team All-State. And after a strong senior season, he was ranked as a 3-star recruit according to 24/7 Sports, and he had offers from Central Michigan, Bowling Green, Boston College, Ball State, and Purdue. Ultimately, he did decide to enroll at Purdue. As soon as he enrolled at Purdue, they transitioned him over to the start position, which is essentially a linebacker mixed with a defensive back. And as a freshman, he immediately saw playing time, playing in 11 games and starting 8. He registered 37 tackles this year with 2.5 for loss. Going into 2020, it really looked like he was poised for a breakout year, but because of COVID, it was cut short after 5 games, but he still managed to register 16 tackles with 1 for loss. Graham's true breakout year though came as a junior, where he started in all 13 games and was named an honorable mention All Big Ten Conference selection. That year he had 64 tackles, 4 for loss with 1 sack, 2 interceptions with 1 return for a touchdown, and 7 passes broken up. And as a senior, despite missing 4 games with an injury, he was second on his team with tackles with 52, had 5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 interception, and 5 passes broken up. After his senior season, despite having 1 more year of eligibility left, Jalen Graham decided to enter the 2023 NFL Draft. And with San Francisco sitting there in round 7, they saw Jalen Graham on the board, who almost has a hybrid ability similar to Fred Warner's coming out of BYU, so they selected him, and for the last 2 years, they've been transitioning him to the interior of their defense. And now with the gaping hole at the linebacker spot for San Francisco, Jalen Graham should receive an opportunity to start, whether that be at the linebacker 2 spot or linebacker 3 spot. But ultimately, these are just my thoughts on Jalen Graham as a linebacker, and I'd like to hear who you'd like to see them start this upcoming season. Would you like to see Tatum Bethune out there, or maybe D. Winters, or potentially a player like Jeffrey Bassett out of Oregon? It would also mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.